Hello there. Hey, my name is Chris Adams, president of Smatotech. This is the Smatotech podcast. Technology is what we do, not who we are. And today's topic actually is going to be kind of interesting. I think business today serves three types of customers. And if you think about that, it might be a little bit wonky, but as I wrote that down, I came back and I said, you know what, really, every business serves three types of people, all right? Because there are actually three types of people that run in our organizations. Number one, let's talk about our internal customers. Those are our employees. The other type is our external customers, right? Customers that are buying our products and buying our services. The third type of customer is all of our potential customers, right? Customers who don't know who we are yet, right? Or haven't been exposed to us. Those are three types of customers, but what they really are people. And one of the most important things that we have to ask ourselves, right, from a business standpoint is, of those three types of people, who is the most important segment in our organizations, right? Is it customers, is it employees, or is it our potential customers? I think, honestly, most people would say, well, listen, our employees are the most important. And I think that answer is the answer that everyone wants you to think. But what I want you to think about is, and what I've been thinking about is, do we have the culture that actually supports that, right? And one of the things that I ask myself is, what defines a successful business, right? Think about all the things that we have out there that we identify as successful, right? How much revenue, profit, market share, dividend, shareholder wealth, 5-star Google reviews, all units sold, right? All of these metrics that define success. But do those metrics actually support the answer to the question, who is the most important people in your organization? Does top-line revenue actually show a good indication as to how happy your employees are, right? Are those metrics in line with what's going on with your employees? Do these metrics support the employee? What metrics do we have in place that actually support the employee, right? What does that look like? I've been, thinking, a lot about that. What are we doing in our organizations to make our employees' lives better? Right? How are we supporting them? I think a really interesting question is, Clayton Christensen talked about this in his book, Competing with Luck, is, why did your employee hire you? I think, why did they come to work for you? Did they come to work for you just for a paycheck, right? Did they come to you because you had good health benefits? Or did they actually come to work for you because you've got a big vision and a great mission statement, and that's something that they really want to be a part of? I think it's an interesting question when you ask your employees, hey, do you like working here, right? What do you like working about? When they give you that answer, is it the same answer that they're giving their friends and their family when they're having casual conversations outside the office, right? Because if they're not, there's a major disconnect there, because your employees are telling you what you want them to, your employees are telling you what you want to hear, right? And that is terrible. You want to be able to create a culture and environment where when you ask an employee a question, they're going to give you honest feedback. And with honest feedback comes trust, right? And I think our organizations in this day and age have really become about transactions, right? I mean, business is about relationships. But if we're putting key performance indicators, KPIs, like revenue, sales goals, dividends, and all those things that I talked about, if that's what we're talking about in our operations meetings and our sales meetings and in most of our meetings, and that's the underpinning, we're really missing out on what business is about, right? Business is about relationships. Business is about putting value into the market that are going to make people's lives better. So how do you, or what are we doing to make sure that we understand in our organization that relationships are the most important part? I think one of the things that process starts with in this whole culture thing is the fact that it starts with the job posting, right? And just kind of stick with me here. And I'm going to take you through what we do, right? So one of the things that we do for job postings, because we want to hire the right people. We want people who care about, other people. They've got to obviously hit the job requirement, right? So we put out a job posting. We kind of give all the technical stuff, right? Obviously, they've got to have some baseline skills and core competencies. But at the bottom, in the last few job postings, we've put this quote: "A job requirement must be coachable with a desire to be better every day in all ways, to love their job and the people around them unconditionally." Now, that sets the tone for the entire culture, right? Because that says, listen, we're about people. We're about relationships. We understand that you have to have the skill sets, right? We get that. But that is in the job posting, right? People are going to read that. And it's either going to resonate with them or it's not going to resonate with them. And what's interesting is we reinforce that in the first interview. So we just hired Victor Ron to the help desk. And we actually were at the company Christmas party, and we hired a photographer because it's formal, and we do our photo shoot, and we sit down and we rent out a room downtown in Boise, and we have dinner, and we get to chat. Families come, and we just get to like celebrate, which is really powerful. Well, Victor was there with his dad, who was actually shooting the photos, and I just happened to have kind of a casual conversation with him, which I really enjoyed. And it turns out that he had just graduated from one of the charter schools here with IT diploma. And I was like, interesting. So I exchanged texts with him. Excuse me. And I said, let's get you in and kind of talk about it, because he was, kind of looking for, a career change. So I had said, like everyone does, send me your resume. Okay. So I get the resume. But here's the interesting thing. The first interview in our organization sits right there, across from me. And I printed out the first interview questions. In the first interview, we don't even talk about the resume, right? Because what do you think I'm concerned about? I'm concerned about the person, right? I want to know who's going to come in to our organization and who's going to make us better, right? And the interesting thing is I've kind of put together these questions, right? And I'll tell you, these questions freak a lot of people out. And I get to help them work through them, because here's the deal. No one has ever asked them these questions before, right? Like this. Tell me who you are. Well, I mean, most often than not, you get your name, right? But then I'm prompting about, okay, well, that's your name, right? I get that, but who are you, right? And then I want to know, what do you do, right? Think about that. Tell me who you are. Tell me what you do, right? And then the third question is, how do you do it, right? I ask what worked at your last job, right, or your current job. I ask what didn't work. I ask, what is it that you're looking to change? I ask, what's your 12-month goal? that opens up all kinds of cans of worms, right? Because most people, have a hard time, looking past next week, let alone like 12 months. Well, then I come around and I ask them, well, listen, what's your 5-year goal, right? And then I ask, obviously, why should I hire you, right? I ask, what makes you better, right? What are you doing to become a better person? And then I ask, how can you deliver our mission? I think the other interesting thing that we do on the very top of it, it talks about our mission. Technology is what we do, not who we are, right? That's the name of the podcast. It's a common theme in our organization. That is the pillar for what we do, right? Listen, we can fix your computers, right? We can keep your computers and internet running fast and secure. That's our mission statement. But so can a lot of other people. What separates us is who we are, right? When you have a problem, when you call into our customer service and our help desk, you're going to get a really kind person sitting down on the other side of that phone call or that email, right? That makes sense. So the thing for us is when we're trying to build relationships, we're just not saying that. We're actually doing it, right? So starts with the job posting, and then it starts with the first interview, and then we do the second interview, right? So the first interview you could say is all about the relationship or the non-technical, and then you could do say that the second interview is the technical stuff, which actually is tied to our mission, right? What skills do you have that are actually going to help us complete the mission? Because we have to complete the mission, right? And that basically is, our mission is we keep our customers' computers and internet running, fast and secure so your employees can grow your business. Everyone in our organization knows our vision statement and our mission statement. They also know our core pillars, right? I'm not going to go into those, but it all supports, all this other stuff. So one of the things that we do after the hiring process, right? Because we're still talking about relationships. So the third part of it is after they get through interview 1, interview 2, then we bring them back for a third interview, which is typically the job offer. We get them hired. We continue the training. And one of the things that we have done, I think, which has been really, really powerful is we go through this employee onboarding, and we have each of the guys read, these 4 books by Sam Parker. And these are incredible. They're short stories, right? I don't know if you follow Sam Parker, but you need to check his stuff out. I order a set for everyone that I hire, but I make them read the set that we have here. And as soon as they get done reading them, they have to sign the inside of it, right? Everyone's on the same page. It becomes a really powerful point of reference. Cross the Line talks about it all starts with the choice. 212 is all about how to achieve results beyond your wildest expectations. Smile and Move, a reminder to happily serve, and then Lead Simply, how to create that special team of people. That kind of sets the benchmark. That's kind of unique to what we do, but I can't teach this better than what Sam has done, right? I don't need to recreate that stuff. This is really powerful. So while they're working on relationships with me, they're out doing their normal training with the guys on all the technical stuff. Of course, right? They got to learn our technology stack. They got to learn our tools. They got to get their desk set up. They got to do, all this other stuff. So the technical stuff, tools, processes, computer desk builds, et cetera, et cetera. So as we get them moved through, get them onboarded, I guess, for all intents and purposes, it doesn't stop there. Of course it doesn't stop there. So what's next? One of the other things that I really like to do is, in fact, I just gave this with Victor, is I send them home with a little project that asks them what their perfect day at work looks like. Right. And I learned about this in a personal development training seminar when someone asked me the question, right, what's your perfect day in your life look like? And I went through the whole exercise, and I, did all that stuff. But I was like, you know what? That the interesting thing about there is most people have never thought about that. Parrish, have you thought about that? Have you ever? Is anyone asking? I mean, for you to sit down and say, hey, you know what does your perfect day look like in your life? What's your perfect day look like? Now, I know you work from home and you got a little run around, so it's far from perfect, but you know what I mean? It's a really interesting question that provides self-reflection, right? And the thing about it is that I ask the guys what that is because I want to make the environment the best environment that I can for them, right? I want them coming to work and be enjoying it. I've always said, listen, when you pull up to the parking lot, right, and if there's any sort of resistance or hesitation between the getting out, closing your door, and going to your desk and sitting down, there's a problem, right? We don't need to be necessarily. We don't want that, right? So I want to know like who you are, right? Because if I know who you are, then I know how to support you, right? And if I know who you are, then I know how to serve you, right? Because that's what relationships are about. It's about, being in service, right, to others, helping other people be the best versions of themselves. So this is really powerful. It's interesting because you get descriptions here. You're just like, well, I had no idea. You know what I mean? And everyone's a little bit different. But you know what's really cool about this stuff? Most of it has nothing to do with the material stuff. It is really all about relationships. It's crazy. You know what I mean? So this is one of the other things that we do that's really, really powerful. So as the ongoing thing goes on, so what else do we do for the relationships? We do a lot of celebration, right? So let's, back with Victor, he just got that assignment because he just came through his 90-day probation period. And one of the things that we get to do is guys, I should mention that when you come to work here, your computer that you get is actually all in a box in pieces. So you get to build your computer. Your desk is also in a box, and you get to put together your stand-up desk. And I don't know why we do that, but everyone's been doing it, so we just kind of move through that, and it's kind of an aptitude type thing, but it's kind of an initiation time too, and it's kind of fun. So how do we continue building the relationship, understanding that, okay, our vision statement just isn't, something that we've put on a banner in our office, right? We continue to reinforce it, I guess is kind of what I'm saying. So with the employee onboarding, relationships, technical stuff, the 90-day celebration, one of the things that you get to do after your 90 days is you're gonna pick out your keyboard and mouse. All the guys out there, the keyboard and mouse is tools. They're typing, 100 minutes a word. No, 100 words a minute. So they get to pick their best gaming keyboards, right? We have a lot of gaming stuff out there because it's the best. We want the best tools for the guys. And one of the cool thing is that it's kind of interesting because it's kind of tied to their personality. I didn't know that, but I started listening to the guys. It's really important to them. So their station, right? Their keyboard and their mouse. I mean, I'm telling you, it's personal. So they get to choose all this stuff, and then we get to celebrate it and kind of do whatever. We're constantly celebrating a lot of things in our office because that's really about relationships, right? I don't think we celebrate enough, right? I mean, we can kick someone's butt for missing this and not doing that and all sort of stuff, but I think as a society we've really glossed over celebrating the little things. And some people don't even recognize that they're doing those things, right? So I'm going to get into that here just a little bit, talk about celebrations. But as we continue to build relationships, notice that we're not talking about transactions, right? When you take really good care of your employees, and you serve them and you understand and you're listening to them, right? Good things happen, right? That ripple effect, that trickle down, that pay it forward paid huge dividends, right? To the point where I don't even know how to put it into words. But when your employees are energized and they're empowered, and they're part of a cause, and they're cared for and they're served and they're growing and they're being challenged, in that environment, everyone wins, right? Our customers win. Their other teammates win. When they go home, their family wins. When they go out with their friends win. That is a powerful trickle effect that we get to put out there into the universe. So we have to be conscious of that, and I'm conscious of that, and the guys obviously understand that because we talk about it. Okay. What else? Ongoing. Sorry, I got some notes here. Ongoing. Can I take notes? I can use notes, right? Ongoing. We do a weekly ops meeting. In the weekly ops meeting, there's a standard format. First and foremost, we popcorn around with the guys, and everyone is part of the operations meeting. We popcorn the vision statement, the mission statement, and then our four core pillars. Everyone in our organization knows that. And one of the other things that we do for feedback is we ask 3 questions: what's working, what's not working, and what can what's the one thing that we can work on. Okay. But the other thing that we do that we close with is celebrations. And what we do is we go around the room and everyone gets to talk about a celebration. That can either be a celebration for themselves of something that they accomplished, something that they learned. It can be in the office. It can be outside the office. It doesn't matter, right? Something is going on in their lives that we get to acknowledge and we get to celebrate. That's really powerful. But what also becomes really powerful is when someone else recognizes someone else for the work that they've done to help them do their job. And that happens quite frequently, right? Where, we'll get around to let's say Justin, and Justin's having a hard time, coming up with something that he learned, which is totally crazy. And then I open up and say, does anyone else have a celebration for Justin? Everyone, someone else is always popping up, right? Appreciate, this and that. Those little celebrations have done tremendous things in our organization. And I think that those will do tremendous things in your life, is the fact that we can just be ball busters to everyone, right? What's not working, right? We can play the victim. We can play the blame game. We can be angry. We can be resentful, right? We can be jealous. We can be all those things. All of these things are combated by celebration, right? And in our organization, we are very conscious about celebration. In fact, our 4th pillar is people. Of those 4 pillars, celebration is one of the sub points that we talk about a lot of. One of the things that we use in our office, a program called Slack. And I'm not going to go into all this stuff, but it's basically a way for us to communicate pretty quickly. It's kind of like instant messenger. Inside Slack, we have a channel called Celebrations. And everyone posts into that channel daily, if not weekly, about something that is going on from a customer. So let's say someone, Jeremy gets a response back and says, listen, thanks so much for your help. I really appreciate it. You guys are the greatest. They take a snapshot of that snippet and they post it up in the channel, and then we get to celebrate that. That is ongoing inside our organization. How powerful do you think that is? It's extremely powerful, and it's 100% intentional, right? And it's interesting in the fact of a lot of this stuff is fish out of water for these guys, right? They've all come from different employers, and the employers really at the end of the day didn't give two craps about them. They were just a number. They were there to do the job. They showed up to the job, got the paycheck, and then they left. When guys come in here into our culture, and you could talk to any of them, they'll tell you exactly what we do from an organizational standpoint, and how fun it is an enjoyable and empowering. I think I like that word, empowering, to work here, because I will tell you, we're trying to make our guys better. We're trying to make our guys better people. That's what relationships. That's what business is about. Business is about people. Business is about relationships. And when you take care of your people, all good things happen, right? When you're taking care of your people become incredible advocates for your organization. When you take care of your customers, right? When you take care of your employees and they take care of your customers are talking to other customers. It becomes a very, very powerful sales tool. And we know that because we don't have a sales force here, right? Everything we do is referral. And we've grown to where we are based on referral. And that those referrals come from our customers because they're I don't know if I want to say raving fans. I think that's kind of a marketing term, but our customers appreciate us. And our customers, when they appreciate us genuinely and authentically, they share that, right? It's crazy. And they're confident in sharing that stuff. If you go to our website, look at our testimonials. Okay, granted, they're a little hard because they're not necessarily in context, but our customers love giving testimonials. You know what I mean? So those are some of the things that we do, kind of on an ongoing basis, right? We are focused. It's just not, we're talking about our employees are the most important part of our organization. Our employees are the most important part of our organization. And we have to celebrate that. And we have to put our employees in a position to win. We have to give them the right tools. We have to give them the right skill sets. We have to give them the right challenges. I mean, there's a whole slew of things that we got to be doing for them. But if we're not conscious about that, we're really losing sight on what we need to be doing as leaders and as entrepreneurs. And I think businesses have really lost sight of that. I think, we just get so hyper-focused on, revenue, right? How much money are we making? What's the K1 going to look like this year? Guys, we don't talk about revenue in any of our ops meetings, any of our meetings. We don't talk about revenue goals. Eric and I do obviously talk about margins because margins actually what kind of keeps the lights on. But the metrics that we have is, what are we doing to make our customer lives better? What am I doing to make my employee lives better? And when I make my employees' lives better, they are going to take really good care of my customers, right? If your employees show up to work and they don't like working for you, you think they're going to take the best care of your customers? I don't think so. And think about all the customer experiences that we've had recently, right? Where you can tell that the employee doesn't give anything about what we're doing, right? Or the kind of the service that they're giving, right? It's kind of cheesy. It's not authentic. The smiles are fake. I mean, it's terrible. Well, where does that come from? Well, it comes from the culture, right? If we're not creating our culture with intention, the culture is creating us. And there are a lot of businesses out there that don't have a strong enough culture to grow into. I had one of our larger customers it's probably been about a month. Steve said, "Chris, listen, you guys provide incredible service. How are you going to continue to scale and provide that service?" And I said, "That's kind of an interesting question, but we have a culture that supports that. Listen, when we have a culture, and if we bring someone in and they've kind of buffaloed me in the interview process, which doesn't happen, but it could, and they don't fit into the culture, and the culture will just spit them out, right? We hope that the culture will change them and help them, be coachable and open to change and, all these things that are hard. But if they're not there to help us execute our vision, right, and deliver on our mission, they're not going to fit in our organization. right? That's not to say that they're a bad person, right? But we have a strong culture. Our guys are all team leaders. Okay, that's what we talk about. When we do our operations meeting, we understand that we're going to grow. We may double in size. Okay, but Jeremy or Shez or even Victor or even Will, James, I mean all of them. They are in a position right now because they've been with us for a long time that they have the model. It's just the fact that instead of me asking the questions, they're going to be asking the questions. That's how we scale, right? The culture is what allows us to continue to provide a high level of customer service. Obviously, and then the feedback loops. So, who are the most important people in your organization? How are you taking care of them? How are you serving them? I think another really powerful question is how are you growing with them, right? I mean, everything that we talked about here and everything that's gone out there, right? And Parrish, you can attest to this. You've been coming here since we opened up the office. The office is significantly different than what it was when we first moved in 3 years ago, right? That is a journey, right? That is a journey. As I learn something and as I grow, right, I get to teach and I get to empower my team. And they get to benefit from that, and I benefit from that. So the thing for me is, it is an important question. How are you growing with your team, right? What books are you reading? What podcasts are you listening to? What are you doing to make yourself, better? And it has to be kind of part of that. Okay, let me look at my notes here, make sure I covered everything. I get a note here. How are you, as a leader, finding ways to develop your employees' skills and expand their responsibilities? And so that's an interesting question, right? Only you can answer that. But think about the answer in the context of not only as an employee, but how are you challenging and developing their skills to be a better person, right? How are you developing their skills and challenging them to be a better human? Right? How are they being a better spouse? How are they being a better friend? How are they being a better parent? Because that's what relationships are about, right? Organizations are just a way for us to solve problems. It's not. I think we've kind of lost our way in organizations in the fact that what's our purpose? Our purpose is that we need to be serving our employees and providing a valuable, solution to customers' problems. And so, anyway, that's kind of my thought. Every business serves three types of people: employees, customers, and potential customers. And that's just kind of the most important kind of part of what we do. And we spend a lot of time, being intentional around that stuff. Parrish, you've been off quiet. Any feedback?
I've just been listening. Sounds very good. It's definitely what I've seen over the years that I've worked with you, and there's a lot of interesting things that I've learned just working with you here and there, and seeing the kind of culture that exists in this office is definitely different than anything I've encountered elsewhere.
Yeah, and you're kind of I've got you on text, right? So I'm always blasting stuff at you. But think about all the conversations we have about our website, right? One of the things that I struggle with on our website is, how do we really communicate what we do here, right? Because the problem is that we're in a world where we can pretty much say any damn thing that we want on a website. You know what I mean? I mean. Not to pick on QuickBooks, okay, and not in the Olympics, but I was listening and watching those QuickBooks commercials, and and we use QuickBooks, and our guys support QuickBooks, so we're on the phone with QuickBooks support more often than not. And it was interesting what they were saying in the commercial was so far removed from reality that I was like calling them like blatant liars. You know what I mean? Because that's the problem that we have with business, is the fact that we're out there saying everything, but the actual experience and the actual product and the actual service is far removed from that. And so the thing for me is the fact that we go through a lot of words, right? And most people don't understand this, but I write my own content, right? I'm probably a little bit unique in that. And I'm always trying to find the right word, but sometimes the right word is overused in the marketing world, and now it doesn't have the meaning that it needs to have.
Well, yeah, the fact that you write your own content is very relevant. I mean, the people who wrote that commercial, they work for the marketing department.
Yeah.
Not the customer service department. Those are two completely different departments. They probably never even communicate with each other.
Yeah, it looks good, and this is what we're going to say. We're going to give you personal this and personal. Listen, I don't know what planet that thing is, but that's not the experience. We just had it out there yesterday. So the thing for us is, like I said, one of the cool things that we do here is we really try to bring people into we just shot the video for our kind of introduction to Smatitech, where we kind of went through the office to introduce them. We have, I think, 100% close rate when we get people into our office and they see the operation, because at the end of the day, that's what they're hiring, right? They're hiring humans, right? They're hiring people. They're hiring compassion. They're hiring kindness. They're hiring, all the things that we don't talk about in organizations anymore, right? I mean, we don't talk about compassion. We don't talk about kindness. Heaven forbid we talk about love, right? I mean, you want to be like, you want to talk about taboo, but, and I'm not saying that it needs to be weird, because it doesn't need to be weird, right? But we get to be empathetic, right? Everything that in our organization starts with a problem. Think about that, right? People aren't, just calling up to, have general conversations with it. People are calling up because their stuff's not working, right? And they're typically frustrated. And the way that we handle that is from a place of compassion and empathy. That just doesn't happen, right? That's what I'm saying. It's very intentional, and we have guys that get somewhat chewed out, and they've got to stand up and they've got to go walk around, and we get to have a conversation about that. But what's really cool is most of the guys are building over time. We've had customers for that've been with us for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. For the voice and stuff that we're still doing since 2005, right? They're with us for a reason. Is the fact that we take care of them, and it's the way that we take care of them, right? We value the relationship over the transaction. Listen, I think if people are going to screw you, they're going to screw you, right? That's on them. That's not on you. I'm not going to make decisions based on my organization about one bad apple, right? We've taken in the shorts from other customers. We've taken, actually, I shouldn't say from other. We've taken it in the shorts from other vendors. We fell victim to kind of what I talked about with QuickBooks, with several other vendors that were trying to do our ticketing systems, and they just were not in alignment with what we do from a customer service standpoint. But that's actually an interesting topic we might have to talk about on the podcast. But that's it. Listen, the most important people you have in our organizations are our employees. We have to provide a culture that allows them to grow as people, and every organization is going to be unique to that. I think I learn just as much from my guys as I do from marketing books, leadership books, any of that stuff, because that's kind of the space that I live in. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Listen, I don't know who's all going to listen to this. I'm hoping that this might serve someone, kind of give a little insight into kind of what we do, the culture that we create. But just doing this podcast is made me better, right? Sat down and kind of reevaluate, what's important in our organization, and how that, has ripple effects, throughout, the community, throughout the state, throughout the country. Who knows where those trickle effects and those good intentions are going to land. So anyway, that's all I got. This is the Semantic podcast. Technology is what we do, not who we are. Thanks, and we'll be shooting the next one shortly. Thanks.